changes everything, Jack.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to do another classic Bruce Willis film review, and today I'm taking a look at the 2006 action thriller 16 Blocks. The film is directed by Richard Donner, stars Bruce Willis as well as Mos Def, David Morse, Jenna Stern and Casey Sander. Right, okay, the film focuses on Bruce Willis's character Jack Mosley, who is an aging police detective who has kind of fallen on hard times. He's not well respected within his department anymore. He's pretty much an alcoholic, and he's really on the steep decline. He is then asked by his superiors to complete a prisoner transfer, a 16-block transfer from the cells to the courthouse. What he doesn't realise is the person he's transporting, played by Mos Def, is scheduled to testify against some of the higher-ranking police officers within that city. What proceeds to happen is a siege of police officers intent on taking out this witness and Bruce Willis with him. Right, what are my thoughts on 16 Blocks? Well, as you know, I have been doing classic film reviews. I have done classic film reviews of Bruce Willis's in the past. I did one just last week. But also last week, or certainly very recently, I did the review for Clint Eastwood's The Gauntlet. And someone who I can't remember whose name it was, let yourself be known in the comments if it was you, let me know that they felt that this film, 16 Blocks, was in a lot of ways, a very similar film to Gauntlet. And I sat and thought about it, and I thought, do you know what? I think they're absolutely right. It's such a long time since I've seen this. I've only seen this one once. And then when I sat and thought about it, I thought, I think they've got a really good point. And in actual fact, doing a little bit of research on this, there is some documentation out there that says this is actually a remake of Gauntlet, and there's some that kind of just says it's just shared similarities. So I couldn't actually find anything definitive that says it's an official remake, but there are absolute similarities here. You've got the broken down bum of a cop, really, that no one respects or trusts anymore, doing a prisoner transfer for a prisoner that is, going to bring some very, very powerful people down when he gets to court. And then, there's a whole wave of people trying to take out this witness and Bruce Willis's character as a result. It's the same as Gauntlet. There's even a scene in this where the bus, not exactly the same scene as Gauntlet, but he's on a bus, crashing through, and there's people, they're shooting it to hell. So I absolutely agree that this is, in a lot of ways, a reimagining of that film. However, as much as I like Gauntlet, and I absolutely do, if you've seen my review, I couldn't remember a huge amount about this one before watching it, other than, the basic synopsis. After rewatching this after a long time, I just got to say I really enjoyed this. I completely forgot that Richard Donner directed this, one of the veterans. In actual fact, this was his last film that he actually physically directed before he passed away in, obviously a few years later. And you can absolutely see, the way that he handles this film, handles the action. It's just an absolute breeze for him, and it's effortless. And the film, just works so well. It's very, very fast-paced. It's very, very tense. Bruce Willis is fabulous as his character, who they've obviously aged up for the role. I remember that being something that took me back quite a bit. When I first saw the film, I'm kind of thinking, well, why would you do that to Bruce Willis? Make him look like a bum, really. He's walking around with a limp for the whole film, and in actual fact, he ended up, Bruce Willis, putting a pebble in his shoe for the whole shoot so that it would emphasize his limp. You know, he is absolutely broken down. He's a bum. You know, he's an alcoholic. He has given up in regards to his beliefs in regards to being a police officer. And it's actually his relationship that develops throughout the film with Mos Def's character, Eddie, that kind of re-inspires him to be a better person. And I really like that. And I thought they had great chemistry, both Bruce Willis and Mos Def. Even though, I can't lie, I found Mos Def to be incredibly annoying for the most part in this film. It was his voice that he did. Now, don't get me wrong, he kind of grew on me as the film progressed. But, you know, for big chunks of the film, he did frustrate me a little bit. His like acting choice in regards to his voice and stuff like that. It just droned on and on and on and on. And I guess that's the point. The whole point was that he was there to, you know, wind and frustrate Bruce Willis's character. David Morse, who is always hugely reliable in any film I've ever seen him in. He plays great good guys. He plays arguably even better bad guys, which is what he does here. He's Bruce Willis's ex-partner, who is kind of leading the charge, trying to take Mos Def's character out, trying to take the moral high ground, you know, in the fact of trying to defend what he is doing and what he has done in the past, the questionable things he's done as a police officer. And he does it so well. So it's a great film. It's got a fantastic climax as well that I really, really enjoyed. You're not really sure how it's going to go, the kind of final scene sort of thing. And then it actually chokes you up at the end a little bit, you know, when you get like the final scene with like Bruce Willis at the final end of the film where he gets like the cake from Mos Def's character. So I had a real blast revisiting this. I just thought it was very, very well made with very, very strong performances. I think a very underrated Bruce Willis performance, this. You're not used to seeing Bruce Willis playing characters like this, like losers, really. You know, bums, you know, who have absolutely got nothing really to offer in regards to his profession or anything, really. He's just a loser. And then for him to kind of remember who he was, rediscover who he is by, you know, as the film progresses, and his determination to get this witness to the courtroom, these 16 blocks to the courtroom, despite everything that's going on around him and everyone, some of them his closest friends, trying to kill them. Yeah, so it's a great film, I think. A very underrated Bruce Willis film. Again, when people say, you know, what are Bruce Willis's best films, you never hear people say, oh, 16 Blocks, that's a brilliant Bruce Willis film. You know, they'll go for the obvious ones. But while I don't think this is his best film or anything like that, I certainly think it is right up there for being one of his most underrated films and underrated performances. And I urge you to check it out if you haven't seen it. And that's my thoughts on 16 Blocks. So thanks very much for joining me. If you enjoyed the review, don't forget to click the like button. It really does help. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. You are most welcome. And I will see you back on the channel with plenty more content very, very soon.